Well, welcome back. We're so pleased to welcome back to the program Norfolk County Register of Deeds, Bill O'Donnell, for kind of an 8-month update, I guess, if you would, specifically talking about some Quincy statistics and some other happenings at the registry. Bill, welcome back.
Joe, thanks for having me. It's always good to come back to Quincy and also to Quincy Access Television that does such a great job, so thank you.
You're welcome. We appreciate that, and we appreciate the great relationship that we have where you can actually bring to the residents of Quincy exactly what's going on in their community when it comes to real estate activity.
And we love doing it,
Yeah.
and we've tried to bring the registry records into people's homes and businesses. If they go on our website, they can look up information and get real estate related information and information on the homestead. But it's always good to come into the communities and talk about statistics, and especially 2012 seems to be a better year. I think people forget that in 2011, that was actually a worse year statistically anyway at the Norfolk County Registry of Deeds than 2010. So we decided to come here and compare some of the statistics because, believe it or not, summer's in the books.
Yes,
and there's an
know.
8-month period from January 1st, 2012 to August 31st, 2012 that we've been looking at and trying to compare it to 2011.
So you're going to bring some good news for us.
Well, it has been good, some
Yeah.
good news. Statistically,
Yeah.
Countywide, there were over 131,000 documents, almost 132,000 documents recorded. That's a 29% increase over 2011. So that's a great sign. That shows that there's some activity, that's good news, especially where 2011 it really seemed to be a depressed year statistically. And in Quincy specifically, there were almost 12,000 documents, and they actually exceeded the county percentage.
Oh.
It was a 30% increase when you compared the 8 months of 2012 to the 8 months of 2011. There was a 30% increase in document volume, here in Quincy. So that's a good sign. And a lot of people, there's a lot of documents that get recorded, and we can break some of that down. But a lot of people are interested in, well, what about the sales? What about the deeds? And countywide, again, the increase in the deeds countywide was 20%. Almost 11,000 deeds were recorded countywide over this 8-month period. And Quincy followed pretty close to that, an 18% increase, and again, almost 1,300 deeds in that 18-month period. So
that represents the purchase of property, yes?
Yes, that deeds were recorded. Most of the time, the deeds that are recorded reflect purchase. Sometimes there are family transactions that may not have a full purchase price, but it's it's at least some good news economically that there at least seems to be some movement with respect to purchase and sales.
Yes.
Interest rates have been so low, and I think that's what carried us statistically in 2011, and that trend continues. For instance, countywide, there was a 51% increase in mortgages recorded over this 8-month period. And in Quincy, there was a 41% increase in mortgages. And that's because the interest rates are just so low.
Yes.
I think people are realizing that there's a savings to refinance. People might have other things that they're trying to accomplish, like I know personally, college tuitions and things like that, where
or vacations.
we want to be careful not to use our house as a credit card, because I think that's what got some people in trouble, that they put a lot of debt on their house just figuring the prices were going to increase, and that they were kind of upside down. I think the good news about this refinance activity is not only are the interest rates low, I think people, maybe there's been some increase in the values of their house. Maybe they have jobs, or they may be more confident in their jobs, where people who weren't qualifying for loans are qualifying for loans. It's still tough. Because of the economic crisis that the country found itself in, there's been a lot of regulations, and it can be tough for people to get credit.
Yeah, especially first-time buyers, I know, are having a difficult time in some cases.
Yeah, and again, and I think sometimes first-time home buyers, if they're not confident in their job, they're not going to jump in and buy a house. And I think people who own houses, if they're not confident in their jobs, or they're being furloughed, or someone lost some hours, they don't want to upgrade their house. And at the same time, they have to sell a house to upgrade a house. And it's that confidence level.
Yeah,
the good news is there's been at least an increase in some confidence, because we're seeing that purchase and sale activity, that deed activity, go up, which is great.
And we just saw the Fed just recently take action to keep interest rates low by buying bonds on the federal level. So it looks like that trend is going to continue.
Yes,
Yeah.
you know, I would say at some point the interest rates are going up, but they've
Right.
been saying that for a long time. So
Right.
clearly, at least in the near future, the interest rates are staying relatively low, especially compared to when you look back over the course of history. So it's a good time if you are a first-time home buyer and you can qualify for
Yeah.
that mortgage. I'm sure there are deals out there price-wise, but there's also deals, you know, with respect to borrowing money on the interest rates.
Can you talk at all, Bill, about about sale prices and trends and
Well,
prices?
you know, a lot of what we trend is commercial and residential. I know it's still, you know, it's still down somewhat. Like, you know, in Quincy it was down, but again, some of that's a reflection. We look at the prices commercially too. So sometimes the commercial takes down the value.
Okay. So it can skew the numbers,
the sale values are down. In countywide, it's up slightly,
Okay.
you know, but it was down in Quincy. But I think, again, some of that's skewed because of the commercial.
Yeah.
But,
And I
you know,
suppose-
it depends on the community.
And I was just
I
gonna
think
say,
there
yeah.
are deals out there. I don't think you're seeing the way it was in 2003, 2004, where the prices were trending up.
Right.
And as a matter of fact, maybe that's why there has been an increase in sales is, you know, a lot of times when you talk to brokers, you know, people had sort of unrealistic views of what they were going to get for their
So true.
house.
Yeah.
And I think time has kind of made people realize that what my neighbor got in 2003, 2004, and 2005 isn't what I'm necessarily going to get for my house
eons
now.
apart from what it is
So,
today, yeah.
but
And it depends, I guess, too, on how much it actually inflated during the boom years, as opposed to how much it's come down now.
yes,
you know.
and again, but again, some of it was psychological
Yeah.
too. In again, talking to brokers that, you know, sellers were fixated. No, my neighbor got this, I should be getting this.
Right.
Well, it's a different economy, different trends,
Yeah.
and it's a different economic time. And like you said, it's eons ago. One thing that I always give your show credit for, and Quincy Access Television, because they've been such a great promoter of the Homestead, that 880 more owners took advantage of filing a homestead here in Quincy, and you know, that was a 39% increase. So over the 8-month period,
Okay.
and again, that exceeded the county trend. There's been a 34% increase in the homestead, which is a way for a homeowner to file a document, and when that document is filed, it protects their home against a forced sale. One of the good news is, in that regard, is that the legislature has done some tweaking to the homestead law, and for the first time ever in Norfolk County's history, there's an automatic homestead. So if you don't file a homestead, you at least have a $125,000 protection on your home, and it gets a portion depending on how many people own the home.
Okay.
But as I always say, you know, the filing fee is relatively modest. For $36,
Yes.
if you can get $500,000 worth of protection, it's probably well worth it for the consumer to do it. And here in Quincy, you know, we're seeing that. You know, that every time I come here,
Yep.
there's always been an increase in people filing the homestead here, not only in Quincy, but countywide.
That's great. We'll take a little bit of credit for letting people know about
You
that,
should.
too.
Well, it's a good public service you do, because a lot of people just don't know about the
Yeah.
homestead, and it is a good consumer protection issue that people should, you know, really take a look at.
We have to talk a little bit about the foreclosure issue, Bill. Let's touch on that briefly.
And again, I know we've partnered up with Neighborhood Housing Services. It's great that you have such a local group that will try to give people help right away, and they should take advantage of that. They can either go to our website and get that information. I know Neighborhood Housing Services tries to, we send them information about who has gotten notices of foreclosure, and then they follow up and make them aware directly that there's some counseling services available. Good news in Quincy, as far as foreclosure deeds, that is sales that, you know, deeds, there was a foreclosure and it went to sale, that is down 7% in Quincy, which is good. Countywide, it's still up 7%. So people are still struggling, but at least hopefully, we're putting it behind us. And again, statistically, sometimes a lot of the banks had started foreclosures. Some of the court cases put a moratorium on it.
That's right. Yeah.
Some of the sloppy paperwork that, especially some of the larger banks had done, which led to some of the court cases where they had started foreclosures before they even had the proper assignments recorded. Some of those are they're cleaning them up now. So statistically, some of them are starting all over. So it might not be that there's a spike up in foreclosures. It's just that there's been some sloppy
Same
paperwork,
ones are back again, basically.
sloppy business practices, in my opinion, and certainly I know the Registers of Deeds Association has worked with the Attorney General to kind of move forward on that whole process and hopefully put some tough economic times and some tough and bad, recording practices on behalf of some of these larger institutions.
The robo-signing.
Yes, the robo-signing, not filing assignments, not filing discharges, and trying to, put that behind us.
Yep. You mentioned the website. You're revamping it. It's all new and improved now.
Yes. As my uncle tells me, and he quotes, it's a quote people have heard. There's nothing is constant in life has changed.
Yep.
But we first put this internet and website together back in 2002 for the website, and we put the internet research first went on in 2003. So what we did is we've always taken input through our customer service center, and now we've tried to make it more user friendly. Certainly, we're getting good feedback from first-time users who just want to look up their deed.
I did it myself. It's great. It's a great tool.
And we try to put if you read the prompts, it kind of explains in a little more detail what you're looking at. So we've tried to make it a little more user friendly, and we've done it over time. We had some user groups, and so it wasn't a change that just was made. This has been in the works for a couple of years. So if you go on our website, www.norfolkdeeds.org, you're going to get good real estate information. You can sign up for a newsletter, but you can also do the legal research because there's great research for the whole economic engine that drives our real estate, but there's great research historically. Some people just want to look up, see the Adams properties.
Absolutely, yeah, it's a lot of
see
fun.
Joe Kennedy when he bought the house that President Kennedy was born in Brookline, and so there's a lot of good history that people like to look up on our website as well.
Bill, always a pleasure.
Joe,
Really
thank you.
appreciate it.
I always enjoy coming and making the real estate statistics come alive.
Yeah, the
I
bearer
guess.
of good news today.
Well, it is, because
appreciate
the
it.
last few years it hasn't been such good news, and hopefully it continues.
Absolutely.
I really do hope it continues.
All right.
Great.
Another quick break here on the program. Back with some more community information in just a moment.